Hello everybody and welcome to my channel. I'm Sam. I am an artist and illustrator and an aspiring knitting designer living in the Republic of Ireland. And you may have stumbled across my channel before. I'm hosting as well on YouTube a knitting podcast. If you haven't, please check it out. I'll put the link below in the description, in which I try to talk about my finished works, works in progress, and acquisition, like the regular knitting podcast. If this is your first video and you may be wondering why I'm wearing a beanie hat, it is just because I just woke up and my hair is a mess. So this video wants to be a little bit different. I've seen other podcasters calling them project videos, but in my case it would be just a way to share with you and to learn more about a specific project. I am in fact starting to knit the bubble sweater from Stephen West. So I want to bring you with me in this journey so that first of all I can share with you my techniques and my process in a new cast on and how I go on with a new project, and as well learn from you techniques, best practices, and everything that I'm probably missing in not having a physical knitting group. As well, I would like to keep this video as a journal for myself, to keep myself accountable and to push myself to knit a little bit more regularly. So I printed out the pattern, and I always print out my patterns. I do like to scribble on them and take notes and then put them on file. And I have purchased some wool for this jumper. So the pattern asks for a decay wool for a gauge of about 22 stitches per 10 centimeter or 4 inches. I was looking for the actual wool that the pattern suggests, which is La Bien-Aimée yarn, but it's quite difficult to find here in Ireland, and it's really pricey as well. I'm always very conscious about pricing on yarn and getting something that is high quality but at the same time kind of affordable. Anyway, I went through all the projects in the Ravelry page, and I've seen this beautiful sweater design and I really loved the color. So looking for a similar yarn, I came across the Cascade 220 superwash decay yarn. It's really popular and it's quite affordable as well and easy to find in Ireland. This is for the sake of the screen of the video, 100 gram ball by 200 meters, so 220 yards. And the color that I got is a dark grey and a wine color. I know that probably the camera picks up a little bit of a reddish color, but this is really a deep purple burgundish color. So, got the yarn. I'm gonna be using my Yoke interchangeable needles. These are the red twist lace needle. I really love them. They are quite new to me still, but so far they work wonderfully and I'm really happy with them. This jumper starts from the top, goes down with a yoke with that bubble type of texture, and then down the body and sleeves, which is quite interesting. I am not really familiar with top-down sweaters. The ones that I've knitted before came out a disaster, so I really hope with this project everything is gonna be fine, or at least wearable. Anyway, I'm really sorry for my ruggy voice and my horrible hair. So let's get started with the project and cast on this jumper. Today it's February the 3rd and I'm filming in Dublin. It's currently 9 in the morning and I am off work, and I'm really happy because I'm going to spend the entire day knitting and crafting. So I got my yarn here and my needles, and I'm going to start casting on and do the ribbing for the color, and I'll pick you up later when this is done. Hello everybody, it's Monday, February the 7th, and I finally managed to get the ribbing done of my bubble sweater. It's been quite a tricky situation. I have redone this 3 times. So basically, the first time my stitch count was wrong. For some reason, I didn't get the stitch that are recommended from the pattern. And I actually found out that when it was time to fold the neckband, the ribbing, and basically knit it together to get the fold squishiness here. So I unraveled everything. The second time I did everything right, but the pattern prescribes to knit one from the back loop and purl one. And I didn't do that. Of course, I did a knit and purl, a regular thing, with the right amount of stitches this time. So I was really turned if I wanted to redo everything or not, but and so what I've done was to start again with the right method of purling and knitting, and it looks so much better than a regular purl and knit. It's so much flatter and well, looks just very nice. So I unravel that one and I continue on this piece, and I joined everything together, and now I am starting with the bubble pattern. I had to watch a video on how to make the bubbles because the pattern itself, although it has pictures and everything, it was really a new technique to me and I had to figure it out. So the bubbles are just coming to pop. I don't know if you can see anything, if the camera is focusing on my face, of course. I'm really scared about making the bubbles because you basically have to knit a number of stitches and then knit one through the 4th row below the stitches and let the stitches go and unravel 4 rows. It's just a big mathematical nightmare, but we'll get there. Around mathematical nightmares, this pattern from Stephen West really holds you by the end, telling you the exact number of stitches that you need for every single step of the pattern. So it takes a little bit of time to get used to the calculation. I usually, the pattern that I knit usually says, oh, knit to the marker and I don't know, slip 1, knit to the other marker. And in this case, it's actually very, very precise. So it's just a matter of getting used to the pattern itself. The thing that I'm gonna do now is continuing with the bubble stitch for a while until I get really tired and I can't count anymore the number of bubbles and the number of stitches. I'm going to knit quite a bit and hopefully get a good bit of this sweater done. And yeah, I'm going to have my coffee now and I'll see you very soon. Bye. Hello everybody, today is Wednesday the 9th of February and I don't really have many updates on the bubble sweater. But the things that I've done currently is to knit a row of bubbles each day. I do this first thing in the morning. By the way, sorry for my messy hair, it's quite early in the morning. Yeah, I just found that working a row of bubbles each morning brings me to a nice mojo kind of rhythm of knitting this thing. The rounds start to be a little long. We are on the realm of the 300 stitches in the round, so it takes sometimes to get the full length of the bubble and create the bubble itself. And we are almost done with the yoke. I have reached the last bubble row. Now I have to do another set of stitches in contrast color, if I'm right, and then start knitting the body and eventually separate the sleeves and stuff like that, the usual things. I'm quite happy on the look of this thing. The only thing that I've just noticed is that probably I have a count mistake in one of the rows of the bubbles. I don't know if you can see this middle row here. The bubbles look a little different. I just discovered this because I tend to bunch up the fabric on my needles on the cable rather than knitting in the round. I find it quicker to just bunch them up and take off one of the strings, one of the needle, and then start to knit it like this. So I really didn't look at the full work before in time to unravel without feeling that I wasted like 5 days of knitting. So I am not going to unravel anything. You can't really tell, to be honest, from afar, but if you read the pattern for sure, especially in some spots, you can tell that the bubbles are not equally puffy, if it does make any sense. So I'm going to set it on the side now. I have so many other projects to work on, hence why I'm dedicating half an hour each morning to this. But it's kind of addictive because whenever you finish a row of bubbles, you just want to start another row of bubbles, which as well makes me really sad because it's the last row and then I will be eventually in the stockinette ocean. So yeah, it will be difficult not to cast on another sweater just to take my mind off the stockinette situation. Anyway, I will work on and I'll see you very soon. Today is Tuesday the 15th of February. I really hope you had a lovely Valentine's Day yesterday. And for all of you that are single, well, I guess today is the day to celebrate. Anyway, it's been a while since my last update. I haven't really managed to knit much on my bubble sweater, but I kind of wanted to give you some update. Well, I've been starting a new job, as I was mentioning in my previous podcast and probably here as well. And the schedule has been quite busy, but yeah, I've managed to knit a little bit more. Actually, the colors on the camera look amazing. I'm seeing from the little viewfinder there. So, what I've done here is finishing the yoke, casting off or leaving on some waste yarn the sleeve holes and adding a few stitches for the underarm and then start knitting in the round for the body as well, which is been basically a couple of hours type of work, nothing much. And if I manage to work a couple of hours tonight, probably it's going to be finished by tonight, and I can start doing the ribbing at the bottom of the jumper. This is upside down, of course. And eventually, before the end of this week, I can start knitting the sleeves as well. What can I say? It's been very easy knit, apart from the bubbles here that require a little bit of technique and counting skills, a lot of counting skills actually. It's been so far quite easy, so I'm looking forward to finish this big stockinette around for the body and then start working on the sleeves as well. As a matter of fact, I have other 5 works in progress, so for some sort of reason when it comes to stockinette, I usually tend to leave it for when I'm watching television or when I have some downtime that I don't really need to be engaged and think about what I'm doing. And as it happens, I'm working on some original patterns that I kind of intend to publish, hopefully this week. So unfortunately, I put this bubble sweater on aside quite often. Anyway, I really hope you enjoy, and I'm gonna crack on with this now, and I will see you very soon with the next update. Hello everybody, and welcome back. Today is Friday the 25th of February. I haven't filmed for a while, but as you can see, it's finally finished. My bubble sweater, it's completed. I had a little bit of a drama going on this sweater. So the main thing is that I am extremely impatient as a knitter, and I got all the way down to the bottom of the body, as I left you probably in the last clip, and I started the ribbing, bound off with an Italian bind off, a tubular bind off, and started the sleeve. Put it on, and I find that it's about 10 centimeters too short. I don't know what type of measurements I've made. I didn't try it on the way, so yeah, that was a big mistake. So what have I done was I left it there for a couple of days. I was thinking that superwash wool like this one grows a bit when you wash it. So I was thinking 10 centimeters is not that bad, even if it's a little bit shorter as a jumper I would do, and then even if it grows, it will probably get to the length that I kind of want. Left it there, and then it kept bugging me in my head for a while, and yeah, I had to unravel everything. So unraveling the Italian bind off is a nightmare, because you basically do a kitchen stitch flat on the pearl and knit. It's complicated, but if you're interested, I put a link to a nice tutorial below. Anyway, unraveling that is a nightmare, took me forever, but eventually I got it, and I unraveled the ribbing and a little bit of the body as well, just not to see a line. And I knitted the 10 centimeter that I was missing. And then I finished the sleeves. On the rush of unraveling and knitting again, I did another big mistake. The ribbing on the calves and the waist is called in the pattern for a sort of a twist rib. You basically knit from the back loop or something like that. I didn't do that, and I actually went through with the classic knit and purl 1x1 ribbing, which is fine, I suppose, but yeah, it's not what the pattern calls. I realized that at the very end, when I was binding off my very last stitch, and yeah, I was not even considering the idea of unraveling one more time, especially because everything is unraveled, everything is cast off with a tubular bind off, a tubular cast off, so it would be a massive hassle. And I don't mind really, I can't quite see the big difference that it would take. It hasn't been blocked yet, so it's a little bit messy, and I kind of wanted to get this video up before I leave for my week of working from abroad type of thing. So yeah, here you have it. I'll give you some show. It's a little bit too big for what I think is my size. As you can see, my underarms here, you can see the transparency. It's a little bit baggy. Do I mind? I don't really, because it's just a very nice fitting jumper, and hopefully with some aggressive wash and blocking, it will come together. I would definitely start another of these jumpers it was so quick to knit, it fits quite well. Eventually I would go for the size smaller, or probably a smaller needle size, because the fabric is fine. It's knitted on a 3.75 millimeters, which is a needle size less than the pattern calls. But I kind of prefer in my garment a tighter gauge and tighter fabric generally. I'm not quite fond of those big stitches. But yeah, overall it's a very nice jumper. Something that I mentioned in my previous video probably is that there is a line somewhere here of white stitches. That's because a ball of yarn fell onto a painting of mine, an oil paint that was drying on the ground, and it got white paint on it. So hopefully with a nice wash and blocking, everything will come together, and this jumper will be a good fit as well. So next step will be taking a couple of pictures, blocking it, and finally, yeah, mark my project as complete on Ravelry. Anyway, I would rate this pattern top marks. It's lovely, it's gorgeous. The style of writing the pattern, it's interesting, it's different from what I'm used to, but it walks you through every single step by hand. So if you are a beginner knitter, I think this is an amazing pattern to start with. What else? Yeah, that's basically it. I really hope you like this kind of project videos. It's the first trial ever of a project video, and I will probably start doing this more often if you, of course, like these videos. So please let me know in the comments what you think, if I should change the format, or if you have any recommendation or suggestion. And if you knit yourself the bubble sweater, especially using Cascade 220 superwash or any other superwash yarn, do you have any recommendation for me on the blocking side? Should I heavily block it? Is there a way to get the gauge or the stitches a little bit tighter? I'm afraid that with washing this will fall apart and become ginormous, so I look forward for your recommendation. And yeah, that's basically it. I will see you probably next week or the week after with a podcast, and if you got any value from this video, please consider to subscribe, or yeah, you know, the usual things that YouTubers say. This will of course help my tiny channel to get some visibility, but mostly give me the possibility to have and build a tiny bit of a knitting or crafting community here on YouTube, because currently I don't have a knitting community, so I rely 100% on YouTube and my internet presence. So I'll see you very soon, and have a wonderful day. Bye bye.